April 20th, 2025, WrestleMania 41, Las Vegas, the main event. Cody Rhodes, 1 year into his reign as undisputed WWE champion, defending against John Cena. Cena, in his final WrestleMania match ever, chasing his record-breaking 17th world title. A month earlier, at Elimination Chamber, Cena had turned heel for the first time in over 20 years, attacking Rhodes with The Rock's help. The crowd split down the middle. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. The moment felt mythological. And then, Travis Scott's music hit, not as chaos, as a sponsorship activation, as corporate synergy between WWE and Netflix. The rapper embraced Cena, helped him cheat, and watched as Cena won his 17th world title with a championship belt shot to Rhodes' skull. What should have been mythology became marketing. I watched the crowd's energy drain in real time, watched what should have been sacred become a promotional tool, and I understood, with perfect clarity, that WWE had become terrified. Not of failure, of risk itself. Wrestling used to feel dangerous. Now it feels rehearsed. I think back to the eras that defined this business, and they all share one thread. They were willing to let the night end in uncertainty. Stone Cold driving a beer truck to the dangerous, unpredictable. The kind of television where you're terrified to look away because you might miss the moment everything changes forever. Chris Masters was backstage that night. He said everyone was in shock. Not because it was good, because it was different. Because someone was allowed to be human on WWE television, instead of a corporate spokesperson reading approved talking points. Monday Night Raw used to be appointment television. You couldn't miss it, because Mankind might win the WWF Championship on a random Monday in January. Because the ring might collapse. Because anything could happen wasn't just a slogan. It was a promise they actually kept week after week. Now I can tell you exactly what's happening next week, without watching it. Opening promo gets interrupted. Tag match. Women's segment that goes 4 minutes. Main event ends in disqualification to set up next week. Same formula, different t-shirts. Remember when title changes happened on free television? When feuds could start and end without waiting for the next designated tentpole event? That wasn't just successful because it was edgy. It was successful because it was unpredictable. You had to watch, or you'd miss something that changed everything. I get it. WWE is global now. Billion-dollar Netflix deals, shareholders, quarterly earnings calls. That stability built an empire. But from my perspective, that same stability killed their edge, turned magic into content, replaced danger with data, replaced the feeling that anything could happen. The Attitude Era wasn't great because it was edgy. It was great because anything could happen. And now we get the same show every week, with different t-shirts. Wrestling doesn't need new ideas, it needs new courage. WWE's structure rewards predictability, not progress, and I think I can pinpoint the exact moment that became undeniable. October 13th, 2025, Crown Jewel in Perth, Seth Rollins against Cody Rhodes. Rollins attempts a coast-to-coast diving headbutt, lands wrong, breaks his shoulder, real injury, needs surgery, months of recovery, and sitting right there in the company is Braun Breaker, second-generation star, athletic freak, the kind of genetic specimen Vince McMahon would have strapped a rocket to in 1985 without hesitation. Paul Heyman's already managing him. The story writes itself. Young, hungry wolf, injured champion, vacant title, perfect torch-passing moment. You know what WWE did? They got scared. Internal reports said they were concerned Breaker might get cheered, despite being a heel. So instead of creating their next main event star when the universe handed them the opportunity, they had Breaker turn on Rollins and gave the vacant championship to CM Punk, because CM Punk is safe, established, won't get the wrong reaction. That moment symbolizes everything. Since when is any reaction the wrong reaction? Since when did WWE become so afraid of its own audience that it would rather bore them than surprise them? Solution: reward noise, not silence. Let fans shape the story. That's how Daniel Bryan's Yes movement happened. That's how Becky Lynch became the man. Let the crowd tell you who matters. Then there's the sponsorship overload. WrestleMania 41 should have been sacred. Rhodes versus Cena for the championship. New school versus old school. The story should have written itself with mythological weight. Instead, every 3 minutes we got Mountain Dew pitch black advertisements. The ring apron covered in Slim Jim logos like a NASCAR vehicle. Commentary forced to read Clash of Clans copy during emotional peaks. The mat itself became a billboard. Fans on Peacock's ad-supported tier missed entire segments because NBC needed to show them car commercials. Think about the sheer disrespect of that. You're watching what should be the crescendo of a year-long story, the moment where Rhodes either cements his legacy or Cena achieves immortality, and the network cuts away to sell you insurance. You miss the near fall, you miss the table spot, you miss the moment that matters, because someone decided advertising revenue was more important than the art. That's not sports entertainment. That's corporate prostitution. That's selling your soul for quarterly earnings and forgetting that people don't fall in love with brands. They fall in love with moments, with stories, with the feeling that what they're watching actually matters. Business belongs behind the camera. Storytelling belongs inside the ring. Always. Look at the over-reliance on legends. Every segment given to a part-timer is a segment stolen from someone trying to become full-time legendary. I respect these guys. I grew up on them. John Cena taught me about hustle and loyalty. The Rock showed me charisma could change the world. The Undertaker proved that commitment to character could create immortality. But you can't create new stars by having them stand in the background while The Rock talks for 20 minutes about sitting at the head of the table and whatever catchphrase he's workshopping this week. You can't build tomorrow by constantly retreating to yesterday. You can't expect fans to invest in the next generation when you keep telling them only the old generation actually matters. We'll always pop for the past. It's comfortable, it's easy, it's safe. But safe is the enemy of everything wrestling should be. Safe is boring, safe is forgettable. Safe is watching your childhood heroes return for the 100th time and realizing you don't feel anything anymore because the magic has been commodified, packaged, and sold back to you as nostalgia instead of emotion. Use legends as mentors, not main eventers. Let them pass the torch instead of holding on to it with both hands. Let them elevate instead of overshadow. That's how you honor their legacy while building the future. And the generic booking cycles. Champion loses non-title match to set up challenger. Distraction roll-up. Rematch next week. Tag team match. We're watching the same show every week. And at some point you realize you're not watching wrestling anymore. You're watching a corporation too scared to fail, pretending to fight. The mid-card used to matter. Remember when the Intercontinental Championship meant something? Gunther held that title for 666 days and made it feel like the most important thing in the world, because WWE actually gave it weight and purpose. But now, premium live events with 5 matches, LA Knight, one of the most over guys in the company, sitting in catering, while we get another John Cena return, because apparently the only way to pop a rating in 2025 is to resurrect someone from 2005. Go back and watch SummerSlam 1992. The Intercontinental Championship match between Bret Hart and the British Bulldog was the main event. In Wembley Stadium, 80,000 people losing their minds for a mid-card title. Because it mattered. Because the story mattered. Because WWE made us believe. It was worth investing in emotionally. Now the IC champion shows up on TV to eat pins in tag matches that mean nothing. The United States Championship is whatever. The tag titles are for makeshift teams that'll break up in 2 months. These championships used to make careers. Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Mr. Perfect, Randy Savage became legends by making the Intercontinental Championship feel like the most important thing in their lives. Now it's a participation trophy for guys not quite ready for the main event, but too good for catering. Make wins and losses matter again. Make consequences last longer than 1 week. Make championships feel like they're worth bleeding for, instead of just props to fill time between commercials. Unpredictability is what keeps fans watching. Certainty is what makes them change the channel. My goal on this channel is simple: to talk about wrestling the way real fans feel it. The stories, the risks, the moments that actually matter. If you enjoy honest takes and deep dives like this one, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Here's what kills me. WWE already knows how to take risks. They proved it. They just stopped doing it. The Bloodline saga stands as undeniable evidence. Roman Reigns spending 4 years as a tyrant. The Usos torn between family and self-respect. Sami Zayn making us believe he belonged at the champions table. Despite being the ultimate outsider, patient, morally complex storytelling that took years to unfold. When Roman brutalized Jey Uso, it wasn't forgotten the next week. It changed Jey permanently. Consequences existed in that universe. And we loved it so much that WWE built their entire company around it for half a decade. Patience is a form of risk. Don't rush reward. Trust that your audience can follow long-term storytelling and will be rewarded for their investment. I think about Becky Lynch at Survivor Series 2018. You know how she became the man? A broken nose, blood streaming down her face, standing tall anyway. The crowd absolutely losing their minds because something real happened. Not planned, not scripted, not focus grouped, just real human emotion breaking through the corporate veneer. Authenticity is stronger than scripting. Let reality bleed through. These unplanned moments create magic you can never manufacture. Daniel Bryan's yes movement wasn't supposed to happen. Bryan was supposed to be a mid-card guy, a good hand, but the crowd wouldn't let it go. Every night, louder and louder, yes, 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 until WWE had no choice but to acknowledge it. When Bryan stood tall at WrestleMania 30 with both belts, grown men wept. Let the crowd be part of the creative process. They'll tell you who matters. Listen to them. And now we have LA Knight, one of the most organically overperformers in the entire company. Crowds chanting his catchphrases unprompted, genuine connection you can't manufacture, or script, or focus group into existence. The kind of lightning in a bottle charisma that companies dream about finding. The kind of performer who makes people believe again. And WWE's response. Loss after loss after loss, left off WrestleMania, omitted from SummerSlam, put into feuds with Shinsuke Nakamura, when Nakamura isn't even positioned as a legitimate world title contender anymore. He recently grabbed a fan sign saying, "We want LA Knight, not Jey Uso," and showed it to cameras during his entrance on Raw. First place. The message is clear. Don't get over in a way we didn't plan for. Stay in your lane. Color inside the lines. Don't remind us that organic popularity exists outside our corporate structure. From my perspective, this is what kills wrestling's soul, not bad booking, not poor matches, the systematic crushing of anything that feels real, the compulsive need to control every variable until nothing feels alive anymore. Give talent short leashes, let them talk, fail, and learn. Let them connect with audiences organically, instead of through approved scripts and predetermined reactions. That's how stars are actually born, in the messy space between planning and chaos. Here's the practical blueprint. Allow partial unscripted promos. Let wrestlers sound like human beings having conversations. End some feuds on free TV instead of saving everything for premium events. Test new faces in main events occasionally. Stop protecting every storyline with safe endings. Take risks. Small ones at first if you must, but take them. WWE doesn't lack talent, it lacks trust in its audience, its performers, and sometimes itself. I don't think WWE has lost its soul. It's just buried under layers of safety, under quarterly earnings calls and brand partnerships, and focus groups that measure everything except how it makes you feel. But you can still feel it struggling to break free. When a crowd hijacks a segment, when a match catches fire because two wrestlers just go for it, when someone's music hits unexpectedly and the building explodes, those moments remind you the heartbeat is still there. You see it in a kid holding a homemade sign, in a veteran tearing up during an entrance, in a crowd that refuses to sit down because they know they're witnessing something that matters. The soul isn't gone. It's just waiting for someone to be brave enough to let it breathe. Here's what I believe WWE needs. Take one risk per month, just one, creative or booking, something that scares you, a title change on free TV, an unscripted segment, a new face in the main event, one genuine moment of danger every 30 days. That's not asking for revolution, that's asking for evolution. Give promos room to breathe instead of memorize. Let your performers talk like humans instead of corporate spokespeople reading approved scripts. Seth Rollins admitted he still works from memorized ideas. That's not conversation, that's recitation, that's death by committee. Make consequences last longer than 1 week. When someone gets betrayed, let it change them permanently. When someone loses, let it actually matter. Let actions have weight. The bloodline worked because betrayal meant something, because choices had consequences that lasted years, not segments. And let fans feel uncertainty again. Not every main event needs to end in disqualification to set up next week. Not every finish needs to be predictable 3 weeks ahead. Surprise us, scare us, make us afraid to look away, Because we might miss the moment that changes everything. The fans aren't asking for chaos. We're asking for courage. Because wrestling doesn't die from bad stories. It dies from safe ones. Stock prices at historic highs. Netflix deals worth billions. By every metric that matters to shareholders. They're winning bigger than ever. But what about the metrics that matter to us? The goosebumps, the collective gasp, the tears when an underdog finally gets their moment. Those metrics are dying, and everyone knows it. Stars aren't born from safety. They're born when someone colors outside the lines, when someone takes a chance on being real. The bloodline worked because they committed to years of storytelling. Becky became the man because they let a real moment become something bigger. Daniel Bryan's triumph happened because they finally embraced the chaos. The audience is ready. The talent is ready. I believe the only question is whether WWE is ready to remember what made them great, to understand that legends weren't created in boardrooms. They were forged in messy, unpredictable, terrifying moments. When someone took a chance and the world responded. Take risks, create moments. Trust wrestling to be wrestling. Trust your performers to be humans. Trust your audience to care about complexity. Stop being afraid of the wrong reaction. Stop being afraid of chaos. Stop being afraid of what made wrestling matter. The willingness to scare yourself. The fans are waiting with their homemade signs and passionate chants, hoping tonight will be different. Maybe tonight will feel dangerous again. The most dangerous thing WWE could do right now is be fearless again. If this resonated with you, hit subscribe. Want to know why WWE became this way? Watch how Triple H's creative philosophy created this era of safety.